signing to the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee and the Zimbabwe National Boxing and Wrestling Control Board. I think this is a very critical and important initiative. And anti-doping education awareness, it's a very topical issue. I think we're all aware of what has been happening within the sporting landscape in Zimbabwe. So it's a very important event for us as the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee and the Zimbabwe National Boxing and Wrestling Control Board. I'll hand you over to the ZOC President, Mr. Tabani. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. Good afternoon, colleagues. Just to acknowledge those that are around. First, the Director in the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation, Dr. Eugenia Chitagwa, welcome him. And also to welcome the President of the Zimbabwe National Boxing Wrestling Control Board, partner that will be signing on today, Lawrence Zimbuzana, welcome. Thank you. And we're expecting a few board members to be coming through, and just to acknowledge the CEO, stepping with our the members of the Secretariat team, members of the media here present, ladies and gentlemen. Just mine is to say it is my pleasure to welcome you to this signing and activation ceremony of the Memorandum of Understanding with the Zimbabwe National Boxing and Wrestling Board, and mainly for the doping control, anti-doping education and awareness program. ZOC, in line with implementing its 2021-2025 strategic plan, is actively seeking value-adding partnerships for Zimbabwean sport and beyond towards realizing its vision. And we know that the vision we are looking at the moment and chasing is we personify Olympism and excellence and underlying excellence. To get to that, it needs every sport stakeholder to play their part. Every stakeholder, and when I speak of the stakeholders, I always want to speak of who they are. We speak of parents, we speak of clubs, we speak of schools and colleges, and we speak of national federations. Any other sports bodies, like the one we are signing on today, the SRC, the government, sponsors, and corporates, when they all, and I think if I were to leave the media, it would be release of me, the media will play a critical role. And if we all do our part in sport, we shape the end product of what we have in terms of our athletes' performances and achieving excellence, which I highlighted earlier on. Some of the key roles of ZOC, we always say, okay, what is ZOC doing out of all, and what are all the stakeholders doing with what is important in our sport to achieve? I think it's important that in line with what we are signing and why this is particularly critical for us, some of the roles which I will spell out, which are aligned to this agreement today, include, well, it does not take away our role as in terms of as outlined in the Olympic Charter and the Zimbabwe Olympic Constitution. And those remain very appropriate. But the ones that I would want to highlight for this purpose is to ensure adherence of the Olympic Charter and to promote the principles of Olympism and Olympic values, to adopt and implement the World Anti-Doping Code, to adopt and implement the Medical Code and the other IOC-approved codes, to protect and act against any form of discrimination, abuse, violence, manipulation of competition, to develop and maintain harmonious relations, promote linkages and collaboration with government agencies and other key stakeholders while maintaining responsible autonomy. It is the latter four that I believe are part of this partnership where it is derived. This partnership is also in line with our four key performance areas in our strategy. And just to highlight where they are: athlete development and support, organizational effectiveness and sustainability, development, business development, Olympism and Olympic education. How they integrate, I think we all can understand that for you to develop an organization, particularly a sports body, you need to have clean athletes that are competing fairly and deriving the excellence. It then comes without saying that when you have successful sportspersons that are clean and their integrity is not questioned, you will be able to move forward. Organizational effectiveness, and we know examples throughout the world of national Olympic committees and nations that have not been able to comply with the code where they are in terms of competing with other nations. And that involves sustainability of those organizations and also sustainability of sport in those nations. Athlete support development, I think it goes without saying, and together with Olympism and Olympic education. The objectives of this partnership is the development initiative meant to expose, educate, equip, and empower combat sport stakeholders in Zimbabwe with the knowledge on clean sport and doping-free sport from grassroots to professional level. Secondly, the partnership seeks to preserve the spirit of sport and, as described in the WADA Code and Anti-Doping Code, the UNESCO International Convention Against Doping. The areas of cooperation that we have in our MoU include anti-doping education, doping control, anti-doping awareness, and sport administration, sport science, coaching, capacity development. And I believe in part of our strategy, we believe that it takes a deliberate move, integration of what we do in order to have a sustainable system and a sport to develop in a world-class athlete to be a elite athlete, from foundation stages through the development pathway. I believe that all this aided by the sports science testing and profiling while living the Olympic values as a practice is important. After all, we have the same goal, I think, in terms of all the stakeholders I spoke to, that we all dream and speak of the day when we'll see Zimbabwe excel. But I believe this partnership is where we speak of the Olympic values and the criticality of keeping a clean sport in Zimbabwe. And again, I just want to say, colleagues, together we are here and we would continue with these value-adding partnerships to see a great Zimbabwe sporting nation. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kony. We'll now move on to the remarks by the ZNBWC CEO, Mr.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mdawarima, who is the Director of Ceremony and CEO of the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee. Let me also recognize the Secretary of Youth, Sport, Arts, Education, Dr. Chitepo, here, ably represented by Dr. Chidakwa, who is also the Director of Sport and Education in the Ministry. Let me also recognize Mr. Chabani Gonyi, who is the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee President, our Zimbabwe National Boxing and Wrestling Control Board members of staff, the ZOC members of staff, members of the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. I think Mr. Gonyi touched on the salient features of the partnership that we are going to activate and sign today. But let me say that as the Zimbabwe National Boxing and Wrestling Control Board, we are very much excited that we are entering into this partnership with ZOC. It is quite a significant milestone in the history of boxing in Zimbabwe and in the history of our own organization, the Zimbabwe National Boxing and Wrestling Control Board. The signing and activation of this particular partnership it marks the beginning of a very interesting journey in the promotion of clean sport in Zimbabwe. We are cognizant of the significant role that ZOC plays in terms of protecting clean sport in the country, and we firmly believe that we can, as an organization, also contribute significantly towards the promotion of the same. We believe that collaboration, ladies and gentlemen, allows us to actually benefit from the installed capacities in many of the organizations that are involved in the development of sport in the country. So we thought it's very important for us to go the route of creating synergies and partnerships, which we are going to be witnessing today. Doping, I think we are quite aware, ladies and gentlemen, that it presents a serious danger to individuals who are involved in doping themselves, fellow athletes, and also the integrity of sport itself. It is a serious concern to us. That's why we thought of partnering ZOC. As performance enhancing drugs, they do prejudice many stakeholders. I think they've made the list of stakeholders from Mr. Mbonyi. They are prejudiced if people take a substance that enhances their performances. And it also removes one key tenet of sport, which is predictability. If one then takes a performance-enhancing substance, it removes predictability, which is the thing that we look for when we engage in sport, either as spectators or as participants. So the partnership will therefore, among other things, raise awareness at all levels and provide access to clean sport information. This collaboration also presents a unique opportunity for data sharing and as well as education and research. Through this partnership, we have an opportunity to develop various clean sport education initiatives, which will be available to all of our stakeholders. Education and information is quite vital for the athletes and all the stakeholders, because many people more often than not indulge in some of the not so promoted or desirable practices because they lack information. So we believe that if we enhance the provision of information, it is going to help so much in terms of making sure that we actually deter individuals from taking these performance-enhancing substances. So armed with this knowledge, we believe that putting clean sport principles into practice will help athletes become confident in their own abilities and capabilities, and they also uphold the values such as integrity and fair play, and bring confidence in all the people around them. So it's quite important for us that we are taking this particular initiative and step, and we believe it's going to be very much beneficial to not only the sport of boxing or combat sport in the country, but sport in general. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CEO, for those remarks. I think we'll then move straight on to the signing of the partnerships. Please bring forth the to our remarks by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Youth, Sport, Arts and Recreation, Dr. Chitepo, being represented by Dr. Chitako. Now.
Thank you very much. The Zimbabwe Olympic Committee President, Mr. Gonyen, the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee CEO, Mr. Mlawarima, the Zimbabwe National Boxing and Wrestling Control Board CEO, Mr. Zibudzana, as well as the management staff that is here. Also, I recognize the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee management staff that is here and members of the media. Allow me to represent the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Sport, Arts and Recreation on this august and auspicious event. It is an honor to address this gathering where the Zimbabwe National Boxing and Wrestling Control Board and the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee are signing a 5-year doping control and anti-doping education and awareness partnership. Globally, anti-doping is an important aspect of sport from grassroots to elite level as it speaks to the value of fair play and respect. Zimbabwe, as you are aware, is a signatory to the World Anti-Doping Code as well as UNESCO International Convention Against Doping. This partnership, ladies and gentlemen, seeks to preserve the spirit of sport as enunciated in the WADA's Anti-Doping Code and the UNESCO's International Convention Against Doping. As a ministry, we believe sport partnerships among the sports organizations are important and they stimulate growth of the sports sector. This partnership, ladies and gentlemen, will play an important role in educating, equipping and empowering combat sport stakeholders in Zimbabwe with knowledge on clean sports and anti-doping free sport from grassroots to professional level. I'm informed that the partnership will cover anti-doping education, doping control, anti-doping awareness, and sports administration, as well as sports science, coaching, and capacity development. The areas of cooperation are important in building a clean sport. And therefore, as the ministry, we also employ all sport organizations to work towards developing clean and drug-free sport. We are also indebted as the ministry because we are happy that the organizations that are at the top of leading sport in Zimbabwe are coming together for the good cause. I think for a long time, the sports sector has lived in silos where you would find each organization doing its own thing. But we are happy as the ministry that now we have the Sport and Recreation Commission coming in. Now we have the Zimbabwe Boxing and Wrestling Board coming in. We have the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee coming in. We have the Zimbabwe National Paralympic Committee also coming in. If these four work together, we are going to see another version of sport in Zimbabwe. Sports education is going to take its form. Anti-doping education is also going to take its form. And as the ministry, this is the route that we want to take. Because if these four lead by example, we are surely going to see national sport associations following suit. We thank you and congratulate you, the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee, as well as the Zimbabwe National Wrestling and Control Board. And indeed, this is a great milestone, the first of its kind, and results are going to be coming soon. We thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Sidapa. I think we'll open it up to question and answer session with the media. So if there are any pertinent questions coming through, we'll go through those. Yes, sir.
Okay. My question goes to Mr. Zibudzana. Just picking at one of the tenets from this MoU, how important is it going to be the part of sports science and coaching help in terms of professionalizing the sport of boxing that has been evidently on the up in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think in terms of making sure that our boxers or athletes reach peak performance or podium performance, this particular collaboration or partnership is going to be very critical, because as I said initially in my remarks that we want to tap into the installed capacity that the Zimbabwe Olympic has, both the knowledge and experience in terms of for doping control issues, in terms of even sports science itself. So we've been lagging as a continent, I should say, over the last decade, a couple of decades in terms of performance, because we've seen many champions coming out of the world. Most of them are not from Africa, and more so Zimbabwe. So we want to make sure that we retain the yesteryear glory and make sure that our boxers and the athletes are able to fight the best in the world. Because for that to happen, these days sport is so much science, there is no doubt about it. So we want to make sure that we actually try as much as we can to put in place the systems and the mechanisms to make sure that we don't only talk about these things, but to actually see them happening on the ground, and make sure that we also try to make sure we capacitate, because capacity development is very critical. Capacitating our coaches, because most of the coaches that we find around Zimbabwe at the moment are mainly driven by passion, but they are not really skilled in terms of the application of science in their coaching. So that's what we want to try and do together with our partners, Zimbabwe Olympic Committee.
Don't know whether there are any questions, ma'am?
No, I think the permanent secretary already answered it, because it was mainly related to what athletes, who, apart from them learning about doping, what they would also benefit from this partnership. So I understand the permanent secretary talked about capacity development, which is quite important, because once also athletes retire from boxing, we would also expect them to maybe become doping officers, which is something that I thought of when this partnership was announced.
Much appreciated. Thank you. Really noted. Okay, I think if there are no more questions, you will get copies of the press statement, and also I think of the various presentations as well, so that at least we're able to capture the essence of this partnership, the way it is in the official documents as well. So you will definitely get copies. And then I do hand us over to Mr. Cooper for the vote of faith.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Zimbabwe Olympic Committee, the Zimbabwe National Boxing and Wrestling Control Board, we would like to thank you all for pressing this very important occasion. I thank you.
We do have refreshments being served outside, and we are all available for any other questions or remarks from us. Thank you.
Thank you.